5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. My name is Cynthia Preston. On behalf of the co-pastors and our board of trustees, we welcome you to Colby Memorial Temple for our Sunday service. To begin our service, Sandra Lord will light 3 lights symbolizing the unity of body, mind, and spirit. Thank you, Sandra. Please rise as you're able for our opening prayer and remain standing for our first hymn. Infinite intelligence, we welcome you into our presence today. Please let us hear the wonderful messages that are to be delivered to us in perfect clarity, understanding, and love. Amen. Our first hymn will be led by our vocalist, Jamie Osmond. It is number 157, Isn't It Wonderful?
Wonders and mysteries ever will unfold. Blessings of the infinite, Lord, to lay as gold. Bringing all messengers, bright with voices clear. Singing of eternal peace, far from mortal fear. Isn't it wonderful what Spirit can do? Oh, isn't it wonderful, so perfect and true? That love so glorious, revealed our mind, forevermore victorious in eternal life. Eternal victory, laying over deep in spirit messages, when the spirits fall, greeting and heralding of mortal play, singing of eternity in a joyous play. Isn't it wonderful what Spirit can do? Oh, isn't it wonderful, so perfect and true? That life so glorious, revealing the Lord, forevermore victorious in eternal life. Power unlimited from the realms above, blessed with the dignity of undying love, shineth triumphantly as the angels sing, singing of immortal hope and eternal spring. Isn't it wonderful what Spirit can do? Oh, isn't it wonderful, so perfect and true? That light so glorious, revealing the Lord, forevermore victorious in eternal light. Thank you. You may be seated.
Located on the handout and the front cover of your hymnal are our declaration of principles. Please join with me in reciting these principles together. We believe in infinite intelligence. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and personal identity of the individual continue after the change called death. We affirm that communication with the so-called dead is a fact scientifically proven by the phenomena of spiritualism. We believe in the highest morality is contained in the golden rule. Whatsoever ye would that others should do unto you, do ye also unto them. We affirm the moral responsibility of the individual and that he makes his own happiness or unhappiness as he obeys or disobeys nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any human soul here or hereafter. We affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing contained in the Bible are divine attributes proven through mediumship. The healing prayer is located on the back of your hymnal. Please recite it with me. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstructions from my mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust in the love and power of God. Now, for all those who would wish to receive a spiritual healing, please take a seat along the wall to either side and go to the next available healer. While the healers work, the rest of us will join in a guided meditation. So if everybody can take a deep breath and get as comfortable as you can in your seat. Roll your shoulders. Move your heads from side to side, front and back. Flex your hands and relax them. Flex your toes in your shoes and relax your toes in your feet. And gently closing your eyes. I want you to envision a beautiful trail on a beautiful mountain. Pine trees surround you, and they're so tall that the trail is shaded and lovely and cool. As you walk along the gravel path, beautiful butterflies flit around you, welcoming you into their space. And take another deep breath. You feel yourself relaxing from all the stresses of the week. You're leaving all of that behind you. There is nothing to do now but walk and enjoy the space. And you notice there's a light, a clearing in the woods. And as you get closer, you realize it's a beautiful alpine lake. You walk up to the lake and into the cold water. And you realize it's so clear and pure that you can see it all the way to the bottom. There's not another human being in sight. You stretch your arms above your head. You feel joyful. You feel calm. There's a wonderful warm rock over to the right. And inside, I'm gonna sit here and meditate for a little while in this beautiful, peaceful place. A cloud passes over the sun. Birds fly around you. And you're aware of all this. And as you sit on a rock, you become aware of a presence behind you. And you don't know who it is because you didn't hear anyone come up the path. But you feel loved and safe. It feels to you like this presence is silently requesting to sit by your side. And you smile and nod. A question rises naturally to your mind. Something that's been bothering you. Something that you would like guidance with. And this being indicates that they're willing to listen. So you take your time and ask this question from the bottom of your heart. When you're done asking the question, this being takes a hold of your hand. As you breathe in, this being transmits the answer to you. As you receive this answer, all of the stress, anything else that you had to carry around the situation falls away. You have perfect clarity now, and you understand your path going. And if you're comfortable and the desires in your heart, ask the spiritual guide their name and how you may call them to you again. And as you complete your conversation, if you have no more questions, or if you have something that hasn't been answered yet, you realize that you can call on this being anytime. This love and this clarity is there for you. And you finally open your eyes on a rock to try and see what this guy looks like. But there's a flash of light. And they've gone. Leaving a small token on the rock beside you, a flower or a crystal. Something that you take in your hand and you realize that this adventure was real. Fully contented, you rise and you bid farewell to the lake, thanking it for all the blessings that it gave you. You turn back into the shady wood and you walk slowly back with a token of love in your pocket and a feeling of satisfaction and relief. Breathe in the scent of the pine. Hear your soft steps on the gravel path. And when you are ready, open your eyes. All right, thank you, everybody. Welcome to Kobe Temple. Okay. If you've had a healing resulting in a correction or improvement, please complete the yellow card in your hymnal, which looks like this. Oops. You can give it to the pastor at the back of the temple or mail the card in to us. You may also place it in the collection plate. We'd like to thank our healers for showing their gift of healing. From left to right, we had Darrell Demeritt, Robin Antutino, Reverend Dr. Suzanne Deweese, PhD, and Lori Carter. Thank you, healers. All right, please stand as you're able for our next hymn, which is number 155, In the Garden.
I come to the garden, still on the roses, and the voice I hear falling on my ear, and so is closing. He walks with me and he talks with me and he tells me things on. And the joy he shares me tells none of it has ever known. He speaks and the sound of his voice is so sweet. How birds hush their singing, and the melody that he gave to me within my heart is ringing. He walks with me and he talks with me and he tells me how it is on. And the joy he shares me tells me none of it has ever known. In the garden, for the water brought me before me, but he bids me go through the voice of love. His voice to me is calling. He walks with me and he talks with me and he tells me I am his own. And the joy he shares he tells none other has ever known. Thank you. You may be seated.
All right, to introduce our wonderful guest speaker today, Darrell Demeritt. Darrell has been experiencing spirit visits and communication since his teens. While continuing his lifelong career in healthcare administration, he began mediumship development training in Atlanta, where he previously lived, while visiting Casadega whenever he could to take classes. Before retiring and relocating to the area over 4 years ago, Darrell provided mediumistic messages and spiritual guidance in a large metaphysical center in Atlanta. As a resident of DeLand, Darrell immediately integrated within the Southern Casadega Spirituals Camp, was elected to the Board of Trustees, and in addition has served as a corporate treasurer for the last 2 years. Darrell is a certified Casadega medium and spiritual healer and practices out of his office in Casadega, and is our new licentiate minister of Colby Temple Memorial and its related services. Darrell is also the father of an amazing son and daughter, and the grandfather to 5 granddaughters and a grandson who carries a name unto its 5th generation. So he's perfectly suited to be our speaker on Father's Day. Welcome, Darrell Demeritt.
Well, thank you, Cynthia, for that great introduction, and thanks to each of you for being here this morning to share this day and this service with us. We do appreciate you being here. When I was asked a couple of months ago by Reverend Deb to speak at Sunday service for Father's Day, I was honored. As I started to reflect on what it's been like to be a dad and to have a dad, I realized that this would not be a typical Sunday morning sermon or message. Whether your father is still with you or if your father is in spirit, and whether you have had nothing but good memories about him or not so good, we all have had at least one father in our life. This morning's talk will be all about fathers. So I hope that each of you will hear something this morning that resonates with you and has meaning for you. And where else can you hear about biological parents, loving parents, parents in the animal kingdom, spiritualism and spiritual energies, and science, all in just 20 or 25 minutes? While I was thinking about this talk and what I should share, I realized that while I wasn't a superhero, nor the Nobel Peace Prize winner for the best dad ever, I do have some special things to share, as well as some insightful learnings of how many dads do the best they can, considering the persons they are and what they have been dealt with. Many, I would say most dads, want to do what's best for their children and families, even though it may not seem that way in some cases. Every 3rd Sunday in June, dozens of countries around the world celebrate dads. From new dads to granddads, godfathers, or guardians, any and all of the parental figures who have made a positive impact on your life deserve an extra outpouring of love and gratitude this Father's Day. Yes, dads come in many forms, regardless of whether there are shared genetics or not. In addition to dads and grandfathers, there are stepfathers and adopted fathers and male role models who are figures of support and guidance, mentoring, and personal development of young children, young adults, and adults in their lives. It can get confusing these days because with Mothers and Mother's Day, and with Fathers and Father's Day, we know that there are some families where there are 2 dads or 2 moms, or families with a mom who is in a professional workforce with a house husband at home, caring for the home and the kids. And there are single moms and single dads. My talk today is all about understanding parental bonds, and in particular, the influence of fathers in society and in our lives. The idea for children to honor their fathers began in Spokane, Washington in 1909, when a woman by the name of Sonora Dodd thought of the idea for Father's Day when she was attending a Mother's Day sermon. Sonora and her 5 siblings were raised by her father after her mother died. Sonora wanted her father to know how special he was to her, because it was her father who made all of the parental sacrifices and was in the eyes of his daughter a courageous, selfless, and loving man. And because he was born in June, she chose to hold the first Father's Day in June. And it was only in 1972 when President Richard Nixon established a permanent national observance of Father's Day to be held on the 3rd Sunday of June. Sonora's recognition of her father in the early 1900s wasn't the first that led Hallmark to be able to report over 70 million Father's Day cards are exchanged each year. The recognition of being the first goes to a Babylonian youth named El Muso, who carved a Father's Day card in clay, a special message to wish his father good health and a long life. That was nearly 4,000 years ago. And today, 25% of the card sales are humorous cards. And that's pretty consistent with something that dads have become known for, corny dad jokes. But I'll spare you of those this morning. On Father's Day, it's probably no surprise that we fathers take second place, because the biggest day is not Father's Day, but it is Mother's Day. I suspect you know intuitively, but here are some statistics that get you the difference in the recognitions that dads get as compared to moms. 72% of Americans plan to celebrate Father's Day. 81% celebrated Mother's Day. $8 billion will be spent on fathers, and $10.4 billion will be spent on mothers. The average cost of a Father's Day gift is $42, while for Mother's Day gifts, it's $63. Before we talk more about our earthly fathers, let's talk about other references to father. You've likely heard of the divine feminine being associated with Mother Earth. In fact, if you were able to attend our Lyceum on Mother's Day, you got to hear Reverend Dr. Suzanne DeWeese provide an interesting talk on the Divine Mother and all of the divine feminine archetypes and Greek goddesses. Similarly, there is a divine masculine that is sometimes referred to as Father Sky. To the Navajo, Father Sky and Mother Earth represent male and female, and they equally provide all that is needed to live and prosper on earth. Many Navajo ceremonies, prayers, and songs are based on the balance and harmony between Father Sky and Mother Earth. And the Navajo creation story explains how they work together to create life through the weather, the atmosphere, and the seasons. The divine masculine is a spiritual concept that symbolizes a set of qualities or energies traditionally associated with masculinity. However, it transcends gender boundaries, meaning anyone can embody these energies. It's a fusion of strength, action, rationality, integrity, emotional endurance, wisdom, and leadership, power, and protection. As with the divine feminine, the divine masculine is represented in various archetypes and forms across different cultures, such as Zeus, Odin, Shiva, Shango, Osiris, and Jesus Christ. And in Native American cultures, it is the Great Spirit. While the divine feminine is more about intuition, nurturing, and emotional connection, The divine masculine is about action, strength, and logic. Both energies perfectly complement each other, creating a peaceful balance. And yes, the divine energy isn't about gender, but more about energies and characteristics. So yes, women can and do exhibit divine masculine traits just as effectively as men. And men can exhibit traits of the divine feminine as well. As described in the Bible, God the Father is often referenced as being neither male nor female, even though he is referred to in Scripture with masculine pronouns. And just as the Bible portrays God the Father's parental closeness to his people and his authoritative role, he also describes in Scriptures with feminine characteristics as well, such as displaying tender care, concern for his people, and a closeness to them. Indeed, we see some of these characteristics in what might be considered the optimal dad, a dad that exhibits masculine characteristics and some of the feminine characteristics of being a parent. In nature, in the animal kingdom, we have examples of good parents and sharing of the nurturing and nurturing and caring for a family, and examples of not so good parenting by animals. Golden lion tamarins, those little kind of orange colored monkey looking things that are just super cute. They are great examples of good dads. By 2 weeks old, the golden tamarin infants are carried on their father's back nearly 24/7. Dad hands them over to the mother one at a time every 2 or 3 hours so that she could nurse the baby for about 15 minutes before she hands it back to the father. And at about 4 weeks of age, the babies begin to eat solid food. And it's the father's job to peel and mash the bananas and hand feed it to his offspring. And the infants will ride on their father's back until they are 6 to 7 weeks old. Of the not so good dads, grizzly bears could be the worst. We're not going to focus on them a lot. They are highly territorial, and they will kill anything that tries to invade their territory, including their own small cubs. As humans, it's not uncommon that some adults feel that their dads just weren't enough. And many of the dads are conscious of that as well throughout their lives. And even if the dad doesn't realize or share with others the extent of that feeling of inadequacy while they are here, many come to realize it after they leave us and pass to spirit. With our principles number 4 and 5 at work, we affirm that the existence and personal identity of the individual continue after the change called death, and we affirm that the communication with the so-called dead is a fact, scientifically proven through the phenomenon of spiritualism. We know that dads frequently come through with messages to their loved ones of apologies for their life of not being enough, or not being there enough, or not expressing their love enough. And they often apologize for not always being present. A dad is the embodiment of a collection of characteristics and feelings, and it's not the same from person to person. And not all are valued equally from child to child or family to family. And whether you've had a good relationship with your biological father or you weren't so fortunate, he is a part of you. Whether you are or were close or not, whether he was a constant part of your life or not, he impacted who you are today. You may love him, except maybe when you can't stand him. For better or worse, he is or was your father. In The Presence of the Father by Lenny Ports, he referred to all types of fathers: stepdads, adoptive dads, dads to be, grandfathers and great-grandfathers, and male spiritual role models, because they are the ones that the little ones look up to. He listed what he thought were some of the responsibilities in the job description of a father: protector, provider, teacher, trainer, talent developer, playmate, and home weatherman who maintains the climate and atmosphere in the home. It's important for a father figure to be there, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. Families have fathers, and fathers are vital to the family and to the children. But we realize that mothers seem to have a sixth sense and a closer bond to their children for many reasons that we know, relating to mom and child's relationship before, at the time of, and after birth. And we need to acknowledge that there are many single mothers who have done an amazing job of filling the requirements of parents and parenting in the absence of the father. And humans, as with many in the animal kingdom, create very strong bonds between mothers and their newborn and young. It creates a natural and innate sense that the mom will keep you safe and warm, protected and fed, and is seen as the nurturer and provider of basic needs. Traditionally, on the other side of the coin, society has come to expect that the father is to be the protector of the household and the family unit, and to be the one providing financial support to the family, which often requires working long days away from home. Mothers often have more contact and time with the child, and this creates what's called an association bias. Fathers can often have a more difficult time being present because their role frequently requires them to be out of the house. And men parent differently from women. While things have changed somewhat in recent years, laws in society have tended to undervalue the importance of dads, making it harder for them to be seen as significant in their children's lives. Mom might be more equipped to answer questions like, who's your child's doctor or dentist? What's the name of their school principal? What grades did they get on their last report card? But for dads, there are some questions that might get to the different relationships between a father and child. Things like, if your son could be a superhero, what would he be? What kind of monsters do your kids fear? How high does your daughter feel comfortable swinging in a swing? What makes your son feel defeated? The near universal aspiration of fathers is to be a constant presence in their children's lives and also be remembered as a good father, and that is often influenced by the perception or memory of the father being a constant presence. What often gets in the way is that availability bias in our kids. That's when children remember things they experience with a parent who has the most contact time and more opportunities to engage with the child in happy and memorable situations. So the best dads are the ones who do all of the everyday, sometimes unnoticed work of being a good father, and they punctuate every day with occasional bursts of something fun and memorable. My dad was a constant loving presence throughout my childhood. I know he did all the grunt work of being a good father, providing for our family, working a lot so that the presents Santa gave us could be purchased, reading to me, teaching me to comb my hair and shave, and later tie a tie, and discipline me when I needed it. This is far and away some of the most important work he did for me and my family. However, when I think back to my childhood, I don't remember those things at first. Dad wasn't always present in many parts of my life. He didn't come to many school programs or other events because he was usually working or resting after long days of work. I try not to focus on his unavailability, but more on the times that we spent together. That's availability bias. But I do remember the times on his days off when he and I would be in waist-deep water in the mangrove ponds in the lower Florida Keys catching blue crabs. I remember us getting fresh coconuts off of the coconut palm trees to take home so that my mother and grandmother could make ice cream. And I remember being back to back with him in chest deep water, shooing away the nurse sharks that were coming after the lobster we were catching. And summer vacations each year in Miami so that we could go to the Seaquarium and the Crandon Park Zoo. These are the fun, memorable events that, thanks to availability bias, are in the front of my mind. And while my dad could be a bit of a hothead and could get angered when he was stressed, sometimes storm out of the room or out of the house, what I remember more of him is that he was the most sensitive, loving, and caring man I have ever known. It's important for busy fathers who care about their careers to also put in the time to be loving, involved parents and hands-on dads. It's often a tough, often thankless job, but we thankfully see that happening more and more these days. So fathers are vital and critical to their children's lives, and studies have shown that children with involved fathers have stronger cognitive and motor skills, better physical and mental health. They become better problem solvers, and they are more confident, curious, and empathetic. In addition to the societal factors that impact father behavior, there may be physiologic and biological factors at work too. Scientists have figured out why some mice make better dads than others. And it's not because the bad mouse dads would rather be out having a cold beer with their buddies. There are two species of mice that have been studied: the Oldfield mice, whose fathers are amazing in the care of their young, and the Deerfield mice, who are not. Oldfield mice fathers groom their young, keep them warm, and ensure that they don't wander far from the nest. The deer mouse, on the other hand, is downright negligent and doesn't care for their young at all. Researchers at Columbia University have discovered that the adrenal glands of the good dad Oldfield mouse weighs more than 4 times that of the bad deer mouse. And the adrenal glands have cells that produce what they've called a parenting hormone. And when that hormone was injected into the bad dad deer mice, it turned them into doting dads. 17% of the males would build nests, groom their young, and retrieve their babies when they stray from the nest. Interestingly, this hormone is found in humans too, but its origin and purpose have previously been unknown. And it closely resembles a medication that was approved by the FDA in 2019 to treat postpartum depression and is sold under the brand name Zulresso. Dads, like each of us, are imperfect and are a work in progress. So let's be gentle with ourselves and our memories of them, and let's love our dads. Remember, we all have at least one. And if they weren't perfect or anywhere near that, we can still understand and we can try to forgive. Our principle number 8 that we recited a bit ago says, we affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any soul, here or hereafter. So we can understand and we can have the ability to forgive. If you have a father who is still with you or one who has already passed to spirit and who you are close to or fond of in your memories, you are blessed. And if you have had a father who wasn't the best dad, you are blessed as well, because he is part of you anyway, and who he is in the relationship you had or didn't have with him has helped to craft you into the adult you are today. And if your dad has passed to spirit, whether you were close to him and miss him dearly, or whether you knew him, know that he knows you. And he is still with you on Father's Day. He loves you as much or more than he ever did, and probably more than he showed. And with his new awareness and his life and spirit, he would be an even better father today if he could do it over again. My dad, who wasn't perfect, passed to spirit over 25 years ago and is as present here today as he ever was, loving, caring, and supporting me. So I hope that you are able to enjoy this Father's Day today, whether you are a father yourself, or whether you are celebrating someone who has done their best to bring a dad's presence into yours or someone else's life. I also hope that through some of this information and insights that I've shared, you can open yourself to the awareness that the role of a father, and more so a real dad, isn't an easy one, and fathers everywhere deserve to be recognized today. So I want to thank you for spending some time with me on this special Father's Day, and I wish for all of you a good day and to be well. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. During our musical interlude, we will be passing the basket. We thank you in advance for your generosity. Our musical interlude will be presented by Jamie Osmond. Jamie Osmond's going to play a song.
Solid midnight one, still try to look up so your eye. I became different man when I held your tiny hands in mine. So first words I heard you say, starting up the light yesterday. Time is flowing in the breeze. You call me up right in front of me. Guys, little girls, precious little angels, dancing in the wind, drawing on the table. Wearing mama's pearls, putting on her makeup, even though I know it's won't stay won't last forever. To me, you always be daddy's little girls, and someday you'll be dressed high. All restless wings, butterflies. In my mind, I'll let you go, but in my heart, you know you'll always stay. Always stay, daddy's little girls, precious little angels, dancing in the wind, drawing on the table. Wearing mama's words, putting on her makeup, even though I know this moment stay won't last forever. To me, you'll always be. But until then, I cherish every kiss tonight. But if we don't sun every little fight, I'll be before you you'll just listen to the song. But nothing's changed now. You're still daddy's little girls, precious little angels, dancing in the living room, drawing on the table. Wearing mama's words, putting on her makeup, even though I know this moment stay won't last forever. To me, you'll always be. To me, you'll always be. You're still daddy's little girl.
Thank you, Jamie. That was a beautiful song. For our announcements, next Wednesday, June 19th, our message bearer is Joy Sager. Next Sunday, June 23rd, our guest speaker at our 10:30 service is Reverend Steve Atkins. Every Sunday, we have Adult Lyceum, which is also known as Adult Sunday School, from 9:30 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. That takes place in the Andrew Jackson Davis building, the same building where the bookstore is. Next Sunday, June 23rd, our Lyceum speaker will be Reverend Maida Jones. For our upcoming events this afternoon, we have a book signing in our bookstore by Tessa Lord from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. The name of her book is The Bride Tender, and it's about one person's transformation from confusion to being a conduit for the unseen realm with a steady stream of magical happenings. So that sounds wonderful. There's a jar near the front door for donations for helping us purchase a new sound system for Colby Temple. Our current sound system is very old and burnt out, so any donations will be greatly appreciated. And I also skipped the part, I'm so sorry, if we can assume an attitude of prayer for a moment. And I just wanted to say, Infinite Intelligence, we thank you for all the donations that we've received today. And we want to thank the wonderful people that provided them, help us to use it for the betterment of the camp. And we appreciate them. Amen. Okay. All right, to participate in absentee healing, please print the name and first initial and last name of a loved one, friend, or even a pet in our healing book, which is at the left-hand corner of Colby Temple. Every Thursday morning, we have our healing meditation circle. That takes place at 11 a.m. in the Andrew Jackson Davis building, where all the names on the healing list are held in prayer. All are welcome to attend. It's open to the public. Flyers for camp events are at the back of the temple. We have an activities calendar and a church bulletin, which look like this. And you're welcome to take them home and take some extras to give to a friend. On our website, casadega.org, we also have our monthly information as well as upcoming events. Please stand as you're able for our next hymn, which is number 110, Count Your Blessings.
When upon life's billows you are tempted and tossed, when you are discouraged, thinking all is lost, count your many blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord hath done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God hath done. Your blessings, name them one by one. See what God hath done. Are you ever burdened with a load of care? Does the cross seem heavy you are called to bear? Count your many blessings, every doubt will fly, and you will be singing as the days go by. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. See what God hath done. So amid the conflict, whether great or small, do not be discouraged, God is over all. Count your many blessings, angels will attend. Help and comfort give you till your journey's end. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God hath done. Your blessings, name them one by one. See what God hath done. Thank you. You may be seated.
Okay, for the message portion of our service, we're gonna bring back Darrell Demeritt, who will be your wonderful message bearer. Thank you, Darrell.
All right, thank you very much. That song during the interlude really is touching. It gets me every time. So I am kind of being drawn kind of in a sweeping mode this morning. So I do want to start with the lady here with the white hat. Hi there. I know I've met you a bunch of times, but could you tell me your name? Linda? Linda, hi Linda. I have a very loving maternal energy with you. She was very, very close to you and was with you as you were growing up and as a young adult, actually. And what she's sharing with me is that just as with her in the outpouring of love and caring and support, she's sharing with me that you've done the same thing. And she's making reference to the talk this morning. And she's making reference to the fact that it wasn't just the normal kind of mother kind of things that you did, but you also created quite a good balance with being strong and providing structure and providing guidance to others, to small children and young adults. And so she wants to recognize you for that. And she wants to wants to just say how special that is and to acknowledge you for that and thank you for that. And kind of wants you to share that sort of very confident and knowing kind of approach to things and people with a very loving and supportive thing, because it's a beautiful combination and it's worked well with the young people you've touched in your life. And it will work with adults and does work with adults as well. So I'm going to leave that with you with a lot of love. Thank you for being here. So I'm going to come over here to the gentleman with the teal colored shirt sitting on the end with the glasses and the beard. Hi there. Would you like a message? Could you share with me your name? Again?
Troy.
Troy. Troy. Hi, Troy. Thank you for being here. I have a very loving paternal presence with you. It's definitely a strong male energy, a very loving energy. It is a male who has been by your side through a lot of your life, especially in later years. He's been watching you and guiding you, and is very proud of not just the man that you've become, but the man that you continue to be. And he's making reference to the many young people whose lives you have touched along the way. He's given me a strong focus of young men who you have influenced. Whether you knew it or not, they were looking up to you as a role model to know what to do and what not to do and how to do it. And you have helped more people than you could ever know develop into better people than what they would have been without your involvement. And bringing me back to the idea that in many cases, it's things that you may not even remember now or think of. It was just subtle. It was you being you and taking the time to be around and to guide. And he wants to thank you for that. He'll continue to be with you, and he's surrounding you with love this morning. I'm going to leave that with you today with a lot of love and light. Thank you for being here. All right. Happy to come to the gentleman in the black t-shirt with the visor hat. How are you today? Could you share your name with me? Yeah. Dennis? Hi, Dennis. We have another Dennis not too far from you that I know. Dennis, thank you for being here. I have a very loving female energy around you. It's someone who you care deeply for, and she's passed to spirit. And she knows that you have missed her. And there's times that you've missed her more than others, but she wants you to know that she's always around you and that she's not missing you because she's still with you. What she's missing is that you're not so aware that she's around you, and she's still there surrounding you with loving energy. and supporting you and lifting you up. So when you think it's difficult to start the day, or you're doing something at the end of the day that, you're running low on energy, or she is there to help give you that little boost. She was around you a lot. She made your life a little easier, she thinks, because she was around you. And she's sorry that she can't continue to do that for you. But she does want you to know that her love is just as strong for you as it ever was. It surrounds you just as much as it ever did. And to think about her and to ask her for help and guidance and that little lift when you think you need it, and she'll be there for you. And we'll leave that with you this morning. Thank you so much for being here. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Darrell. We'd like to remind everyone that we'll have our afternoon message service from 12 to 12:30 here in Colby Temple. A group of mediums and student mediums will be giving spirit greetings to as many individuals as they can reach during this message service. Everyone is welcome. We encourage you to visit our bookstore, which is open from 11:30 to 5 p.m. today, and open Mondays through Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Please rise as you're able for our closing hymn number 203, Let There Be Peace on Earth, and remain standing for our closing prayer.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God, with each other and let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With friends, day by day, let this be my song of God. And let it begin with me.
Infinite Intelligence, we thank you for your presence in our service today. Please help us to carry this feeling of love and clarity into our lives. Amen. And everyone go out and have a fantastic day.